This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Unette Gentry. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Give them a call, 727-9900. Today's news is also brought to you by Gunny's Air Conditioning and Heating. New service and repair. Call Gunny's 775-727-6800.
Welcome to News 25 here on KPVM TV and A's Country Radio. We hope you had a wonderful New Year's holiday. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. And yes, it is our first newscast of 2023.
Well, 4 people were taken to the hospital following a crash on New Year's Eve. Around the dinner hour on New Year's Eve, Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue, Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies, Nevada Highway Patrol, and Nye County Sheriff's Office auxiliary units were dispatched to a vehicle versus structure crash at Supercuts located at 250 South Highway 160. The gold Toyota Camry sedan ran through the front window of the facility, which was open at the time, and all the way to the back, striking the back wall. 2 individuals inside that car were injured, and also 2 individuals that were inside the salon at the time were struck by the vehicle. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue Chief Scott Lewis spoke to News 25 on scene about this mass casualty event.
We were dispatched to 250 South Highway 160, specifically the entrance to the Supercuts, for a vehicle versus structure. The initial report was that there were injuries related to a vehicle that had actually entered into and traveled through the majority of the suite. As we arrived on location, we confirmed that we did have such a motor vehicle accident and that there was 4 people that sustained injuries. 2 were mechanically and medically entrapped in the vehicle, and then 2 were working in the suite at the time and sustained injuries from being struck by the vehicle. We completed a scene size-up risk assessment and determined that there would appear to be no load-bearing walls, so structural collapse was not an immediate issue. However, there was areas within the suite that caused us concern, and especially from an extrication standpoint. We quickly called this an MCI due to the number of injuries in a very small space. We determined that we could transport 3 of the 4 patients to our local hospital. We had intended to go to trauma, however, a flight was unavailable due to the severe weather we're experiencing. All assignments were completed without incident, and all patients have been transported to the local hospital. Yes, there's a structural assessment underway right now as to how to remove the vehicle safely, and also to make sure there was still entryway, any electrical or plumbing issues that may result from the removal of that car.
Supercuts told News 25 today that they are not open at this time and that they do not have a date as to when they will be reopening their salon. The store is boarded up. Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies are doing regular patrols to keep the salon secure. 1 person was transported by Mercy Air, the other 3 by ground ambulance to Desert View Hospital. They are suffering non-life-threatening injuries. How the incident occurred is under the direction of the Nye County Sheriff's Office investigation.
In other local news, 1 person is unfortunately injured in a rollover crash this past holiday weekend.
Nevada Highway Patrol is investigating the cause of a single vehicle rollover crash that occurred over the weekend on Highway 160 near Betty Avenue. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue, Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies, and auxiliary units also were dispatched to the scene. The driver and only occupant was transported by ground ambulance to Desert View Hospital. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue reports that they had to extricate the individual who was mechanically entrapped by doing a door pop. The vehicle was resting on its roof off the highway. Traffic was diverted around the scene until the investigation was conducted by NHP and cleanup. Well, the Board of County Commissioners has decided to hold a special election regarding the diesel fuel tax that's proposed here to fix the roads in Nye County. The tax would only affect large diesel trucks that do damage to the roadway. Scoping meetings have been held over the last year for the tax that has never been imposed on these diesel trucks.
A 5-cent per gallon tax on diesel fuel was rejected by the Board of County Commissioners today. Nye County does not currently collect any tax on diesel fuel sales. 8 counties in Nevada have already implemented the 5-cent tax since March of 2020. Money generated from the tax would help with road improvements in Nye County. The commissioners have elected to let the public decide in a special election.
We are developing plans to utilize the monies collected to the fullest extent possible. With over 2,700 miles of roadway, 641 miles of asphalt, and 387 miles of chip seal, and then the rest are gravel roads. So that gives you a total of 1,700 miles of gravel roads in Nye County that we maintain. There's over 8,000 miles of roadway that are under our jurisdiction, but only 2,700 miles that we actually maintain. With the current cost of goods sold, we still fall over $4 million short every year to be able to maintain the roads correctly. This money would go directly to the roads and only to the roads. Nobody else can touch it.
Like we have said before, we can always do a special election for it. Done it once before, we can do it again. This allows the people to have their chance to vote for it or not.
Mr. Kampf, so you think 2 to 4 months?
Yes.
2 to 4 months with some flexibility?
Yeah, some flexibility. Of course, I'd have to do the research as far as the notice requirements and the cost of running a special election. I'm just using based on what I've seen for the general.
Well, I do have a motion and a second. So it would be protocol to call for the vote and then thereafter give direction.
Aye.
Nay. I guess I'll put the nail in the coffin. Nay.
Nay.
And Jabor is nay. 2 to 4 months, please, let's look into this. Staff, let's look into this.
Direction of staff.
Yes, direction of staff.
Yeah.
Let's get this going to bring back for a special election and bring this to the people.
And please be careful out there on those winter roadways. We have another accident to tell you about. This one Monday night on Highway 372 and Pahrump Valley Boulevard. Thankfully, no serious injuries are reported.
Nevada Highway Patrol is investigating the cause of a minor damage crash that occurred on Monday night on the Highway 372 and Pahrump Valley Boulevard roundabout. All occupants declined to be transported medically from the scene of the crash. Both vehicles pulled off the roadway after the low-speed sideswipe crash occurred. Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies were dispatched as well as Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back with much more local news.
Watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on. This segment of News 25 is brought to you by Lisa Spahitz and Mike Plasmeyer at Country Financial Insurance. Auto, home, life, and commercial. 775-727-8920.
Well, it was the first day behind the bench for Justice of the Peace. Michelle Fiore, News 25, spent the morning in the courtroom for approximately 1.5 hours to observe. Fiore had in-custody appearances to start off her day, followed by court cases, which included traffic. Fiore seemed confused in the beginning as to how to call cases, how to address the defendants, how to read the files, and often asked public defenders and the Chief Deputy District Attorney Brad Richardson and the court clerk for advice on various subjects. She asked him to clarify about what the case was regarding, what exactly she was allowed to do within the scope of the law, and struggled with legal phrases. Fiore commented at the end of many cases to be good or behave, which was enduring at times. She also told one defendant who received a traffic ticket for speeding that she should have drove a sports car because the Jeep she was driving could roll over. Fiore seemed to become more comfortable as the cases went on. She showed compassion towards those who needed help. She commuted one homeless man's hours from 89, which another judge gave him on community service, to 30, and got rid of his outstanding warrant. At that time, she wasn't confident if she could get rid of his warrant and asked the clerk for advice. Fiore then made a wand-like motion and got rid of it. She read the rights to many defendants, and in some cases, she was not clear about if they needed an attorney to represent them. She learned from the clerk in one case that she would need an attorney and appointed one in that case. She was friendly and seemed to want to learn, though apparent that she had not done very much research on the job prior. For the sake of the Nye County residents, all of us are hoping that she does well.
And a Pahrump man is taken into custody after assaulting another person. David Preston gives us those details.
Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to a report of an assault involving two males. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the alleged victim in this case, who stated that a male identified as Shane Harmon Walsh came onto his property and started a verbal altercation, which became physical. The victim repeatedly said Walsh reached into his jacket and pulled out some sort of rope or fabric with what he described to be a metal padlock tied to one of the ends. The victim said Walsh swung the object towards his head, but he was able to avoid being hit in the face, but suffered a hit to his left arm. According to the report, the victim's arm had a mark consistent with his story. Police also reported that a female on scene corroborated the statement. Walsh was then taken into custody and transported to the Nye County Detention Center. He is facing charges of battery with a deadly weapon.
And deputies have arrested a Pahrump man with various charges following a pursuit.
A local man takes deputies in a vehicle pursuit in Pahrump. On December 27, 2022, at approximately 2:15 in the morning, deputies observed a red Honda Civic without headlights on driving onto Quarter Horse Avenue in Pahrump. As officers attempted to stop the vehicle, the driver failed to stop his vehicle and continued to drive on Quarter Horse Avenue, even with the police car's lights and sirens on. Officers caught up to the suspect, later identified as Andrei Petrushka, at a residence. The deputy recognized the suspect from previous law enforcement encounters, who asked if there were any weapons inside the vehicle, in which was untruthful according to the officer's declaration of arrest. Deputies discovered a functional rifle receiver covered with black electrical tape seated between the front driver and passenger seat upon inventory of the vehicle. Petrushka, a Nevada resident, was also charged with not having a current Nevada driver's license, but was driving a vehicle with a suspended Washington state driver's license. Officers subsequently arrested Petrushka for the alleged crimes of possessed firearm without a serial number, driver disobeyed peace officer, non-Nevada driver's license, headlamps not illuminated when required, and false statement to obstruct police officer.
Yet another arrest to tell you about tonight. This time, an area woman taken into custody for forgery of bad checks.
A Pahrump woman in need of money faces allegations of forgery. On November 17, 2022, the Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies took a report that a check was written for the amount of $482.95, in which the person on the check was not written to, and that the signature was a forgery. During the investigation, officers identified the suspect as Crystal Amos. According to the officer's declaration of arrest, they conducted an interview of the suspect, who told police that her daughter had triplets and needed money. Amos also said there was a labor dispute, that she had a picture of her last check on her phone. The suspect told deputies she gave the check to another person to deposit because she did not have a bank account, but never received the money because the bank canceled the check as fraud. Deputies arrested Amos for the alleged crimes of forgery and petty larceny.
And as you saw a little bit earlier regarding our diesel fuel tax, that was our first meeting of our new Board of County Commissioners there.
That's right.
They have chosen Bruce DeBoer to be the chairman, Deborah Strickland vice chair, and of course it was Ron Boskovich's first time there on the board. And we'll of course keep you posted with all the stories on what's happening with the board at this meeting up there in Tonopah.
And we'll continue to do that BOCC coverage for you right here on News 25. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. Also brought to you by Silver State Health. Visit silverstatehealth.org or call 702-471-0420 for an appointment. News 25, local news you can count on.
Well, January is National Blood Donor Month, and if you've never donated blood before, it's worth considering. As Dr. Thomas Waters with Cleveland Clinic explains, hospitals are always looking to increase their supply.
Blood that is donated can be used for surgical patients who are undergoing surgery, for trauma patients who've had a significant injury, or patients with other medical conditions that might require a transfusion.
According to the Red Cross, every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood or platelets. And the most common type of blood requested by hospitals is type O. For those who've never donated, the blood donation process is relatively simple. First, you'll complete a donor registration, then go over your health history and do a mini physical. From there, a medical professional will hook you up for the blood draw, which typically takes between 8 to 10 minutes. If you're donating platelets, red cells, or plasma, it can take up to 2 hours. Dr. Waters has some advice for those who may be nervous to donate.
There are a lot of people out there who are afraid of needles, so understandably it can be a scary event to undertake. But it is safe, it's very simple, it's relatively painless, you'll feel a little pinch. It only takes a few minutes, and again, it can be life-saving for someone who needs a transfusion.
Well, to find a blood drive near you, you can call your local hospital or visit the Red Cross website.
I have some information for you tonight regarding a winter storm watch and a winter storm warning for both Nye and Clark counties and surrounding areas.
Another impactful winter storm moves in on Wednesday and Thursday. Winter storm warnings have been issued for the Sierra and White Mountains. 10 p.m. Wednesday through 10 p.m. Thursday. Above 9,000 feet, expect 1 to 3 inches. Below 9,000 feet, up to 12 inches. And a winter storm watch has been posted for Spring and Sheep Mountains for Wednesday night through Thursday night. Above 6,000 feet, expect 3 to 10 inches. Expect difficult travel in these areas.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
And we have even more weather information for you coming up now. It's a beautiful day, but we'll get into more details of your forecast when we return.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hi, good evening, Nevada. Happy New Year's. It's John Kohler from the KPVM Channel 25 Weather Studios and worldwide on the local BTV app, the app you need on your phone right now. Looking at this weather map in the new year. Wow, Fernley, Fallon, Carson City, stuck in the low 30s, but you've got weather coming at you in bunches. A small batch of rain and snow arriving shortly, and a big weather system coming out shortly behind. So watch out up north. It's getting dicey. Tonopah saw 34 degrees, 35 out there in Goldfield. Beautiful Beatty at 47. 51 in Amargosa and Las Vegas. Weather Twins, how cute. 62 in Death Valley. And here in the Paradise of Pahrump, let's take a look at 48 degrees and 51 a little bit earlier. Actually, look at us, weather triplets. Congratulations, one and all. Humidity, 61%, definitely a factor. Lots of clouds in the sky today as the sun rose in all its glory. Hope and majesty at 654. Setting this evening at 441, and we'll see a low tonight of about 40 degrees. Picked up another couple of minutes of daylight. Awesome. And also a couple more degrees of humidity, 71% as we approach tomorrow. What are we seeing? Well, clouds for sure. Clouds definitely all week long, but rain you can only count on about Thursday and maybe next Tuesday. But definitely Thursday, boy, it's going to be coming down, 70% chance, 18-mile-per-hour winds carrying it sideways, and won't that be a treat? Heading into the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, winds back under 10 miles per hour. Shoot, that's not too bad. And temperatures increasing almost to 60 degrees by Tuesday. That's a good trend. We like that. All right. Make some plans for the weekend. It's going to be not too shabby. All right. Back to the desk. Here's Jeanette and Deanna.
All right. Thanks so much, John. Yeah, and more rain coming Thursday, right?
I'm happy about the rain, but I do worry about people up there on the hill.
That's right.
Especially because it's 39 here on the ground overnight. Yes. It's going to be colder up there. You got to watch out for that ice.
Yes. And people like me commuting between Las Vegas and Pahrump. Please be careful. Yes.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Unette Gentry. And from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio, thanks so much for joining us in 2023. And we'll see you again next newscast.
Bye.
Good night.